So a difference between a static variable and a normal instance variable in C# is that static variables are shared by all instances, while the instance variables are not. They are individuals to the instances that are created or the objects that are created. So as you can see here, I've got a constructor here for this static variable. This constructor is used to assign here the name to this variable, but it also increases the count by 1 every time an object is created from this class. So every time an instance is created. Here I've got a static method, which basically returns the count variable, which is also a static variable. So this is shared by all instances. And then here I've got the display method, which is instance method. So you can see it's an instant method. And here you return the name of this variable, which is instance variable. So it's not shared across all objects created from this class. The benefit of this is by having this count function as being static, you can count how many objects have been created of this class. So how many instances have been created. So here, as you can see, I'm creating 2 objects. So I'm creating C1, C2, and I'm calling them object 1, object 2. So when you create this and then you call the instance method, you will get the name according to that instance or that version of the object that you're creating or the variable here. So that's known as the instance variable. But when you do a get count is a static method, and you notice that you're not calling it on an individual instance or the variables here, you're actually calling it on the class type. So the counter class type, and it will return to you the count of how many objects have been created of this class. Now, the reason you get the count of the objects is because we are here increasing this variable, static variable, every time. And this variable is shared across all instances. So here it's shared by this one and that one. But the way you access the static variable is not via this object, but you access it via the counter.getCount static function that we had, because it's a private variable, so it's not accessible in any other way. So here I've just carried it private. So if I run this, and you can see that we will get 2 outputs. So here we've got object 1, object 2, and the name, and then we've got total counter for these objects. So we've got 2. So you can see here that this is getting the count returned from here, and this is shared across the 2 objects. So here, when you create 2 objects, it's just increasing this by 1 every time. Initially, it was 0. Then when you create the first object, it increases it to 1. And then when you do it again, increases it to 2. And that's the important property of the static variable, which is it's shared across all instances of the class. So I hope this makes sense. So you can use the static variables in a class to count things or store things that are accessible to all within a class. So something that is shared across the class and all instances.